What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So I want to break it down, all the bullish signals that's happening behind the scenes with SoFi and all very much reasons why you need to buy. So I'm going to go over all that fun stuff, but first make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated. With that, let's get right to it. So currently up 11.4%, absolutely epic day. And even looking at this intraday chart, very much positive, especially more so from the get-go. But when it comes to it though, I like to see what is happening behind the scenes. And as I've said in a lot of videos, this is one of the stocks that is a diamond in the rough, and that it's just no one knows when it's going to go up. I think the market's just been suppressing it for a very long time. So I want to break it down, all the bullish signals that's making themselves very apparent today. And one of which is options activity. So when it comes to it though, you can always manipulate a stock certain ways depending on volume, but when it comes down to options activity, I like to see what's happening behind the scenes when it comes to that. And as of today, 78% or 79% I should say, is all very much calls. And you can even see whether they are bull or bear kind of situations, and almost 60% of all the options activity happening today is very much bullish. So let me know your thoughts on that. I like to break it down as well. So I've touched on this in the last couple of videos. So the put/call ratio is extremely low. And so that means that there's a lot more calls being purchased versus puts, insinuating that there is a substantial discount happening with SoFi. So that's how I interpret it. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So it's one thing looking at the options activity, but what is big money also doing behind the scenes? And they are buying very much so. So both on the secondary market and also the dark pool has gone up considerably ever since their earnings came out. And their earnings were absolutely epic. So in case you guys missed them, I'm sure you guys are all very much aware of this, but member growth up 61%. And it doesn't necessarily matter to the rest of the data, because if members go up, hands down, that is going to feed and distribute among the rest of the ratio. So products go up, deposits go up, everything goes up if you have more members. So up 61% from the year prior. So absolutely epic growth happening behind the scenes. So I think that is definitely very telling. And when it comes down to it though, this is also a very interesting component what's been happening behind the scenes. So this is all the analyst ratings ever since our earnings came out. So we had Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse. And as far as it, I believe those are the three. So Credit Suisse did give us an $8 price target, Morgan Stanley $7, and Goldman Sachs $7.50. Although some of these are very much buys, equal weight, and outperform, or neutral I should say, from Credit Suisse. Definitely they were a little bit more of downgrades. So for instance, Morgan Stanley was previously $7.50. So they gave us a $7 price target, still very, very much low in my opinion. And based on the previous earnings, I could logically say that we should easily be $8.50 if not more. That's my own interpretation. As I always say though, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence, and these videos are for entertainment purposes only. So again, a lot of the data behind the scenes is very optimistic, and it's very interesting to see what is happening with the analysts. So like I said, these are the recent analyst ratings, but when I look at the forecast, I know it might be a little bit more too early to start talking about Q4 earnings, but looking here, we got upgrades, as you can see this V. So Q4 and also Q1 2023, one analyst, or I believe there was two different analysts that did give us new ratings. So analysts are still now looking very optimistic for Q4 and Q1. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. There is also a lot of good articles that is coming out about SoFi, and I absolutely love to see the sentiment. So there's a lot of different factors that's happening behind the scenes, one of which is media. The way the media is actually talking about SoFi, and it's turned very, very bullish. So when it comes to that though, although media can be misinterpreting a lot of different things, but the bull case for SoFi stock. So at $5, it is a steal of a deal. So in here, they do talk on overall their outlook for 2023, them being the Amazon of finance, which you already technically knew that, but in here, they do talk on the overall, their data from the Q3, and even more so the Q2, Q1, everything is showing a very beautiful trend in the right direction, despite, even if you looked at a lot of this data, you would not assume that we were very much down roughly about 75% in a 1 year time frame. So definitely goes to show that we have a very good diamond in the rough. And as Anthony has already said, the market does act very irrational towards SoFi. That's just my own interpretation. So I like to see what, like I said, what is happening behind the scenes, and everything, as what I have mentioned, is very much bullish. Even more so on the short activity. Short activity, they've been really closing out a lot of their positions lately, and that could be seen as also a very positive sign. Short score is currently 72, utilization is 100%, showing 100% of the available shares to short are currently out. And the short interest right now is 13.97. So that's gone down a huge amount. It was roughly about 25-26% at one time, which was roughly about 3 or 4 months ago. So I think in general, things are starting to move in the right direction for SoFi. And even more so when it comes down to it being a long-term investment, which is very true. But there's this, I do want to break it down for you as far as what I mean by that. So we already do know the digital banking platforms are going to be making a ton of money. So 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 and a lot of the acquisitions that SoFi has under its belt is going to and is expected to grow by 21 billion between 2022 and 2026. So not only is SoFi going to be making a lot of money, their acquisitions, as obviously I've really touched on in the last couple of videos as well, are all very much going to make SoFi a lot of money. So let me know your thoughts on a lot of this. I know it's kind of all over the place, this video. I just wanted to talk on a lot of the bullish signals that's happening behind the scenes, and one reason that we could be going up as well, because obviously it being up 11.5% give or take, it goes to show that we were very, very undervalued. And even if they do potentially increase again, roughly about the 50 basis points, which is I think the forecast in December, it goes to show SoFi is just going to continue to make more and more money. Eventually, it will get to a point where they stop increasing the APY and just to collect a little bit more revenue. That, hands down, is going to be the stage in the game when we go up very, very fast. So keep in mind, though, right now they're trying to incentivize customers to come over to us, even though based on the data, it was very, very positive. But again, we're going to eventually have to do a transition away from growth from members into a little bit more capitalizing on revenue and the current market situation with the interest rates. So that's how I see things. When it comes down to the actual technicals, though, I'm a big technicals fan, and looking on the actual chart, I do have the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, RSI, stochastic, and momentum. Momentum, number of retail investors are definitely in today. Versus if you do compare this with a lot of other growth stocks, a lot of retailers seem to be going down, oddly enough. So I think it is having a little bit more institutions purchasing in those aspects. When it comes down to SoFi, retail is absolutely loving this kind of bounce going on. Stochastic, you do see a deviation. So black line above the red, showing a nice bullish sentiment is starting to form behind the scenes, but still we're technically at 20 as well though. So that in and among itself shows that we are very much oversold. So due for a rally. RSI is currently at 61, so fairly neutral in that regard. And on the actual chart, technically outside the Bollinger Band, and exactly it does look like at this 100-day moving average. So a little bit more resistance that we do have to get over. Most likely we will trace back a little bit after hours, which is very healthy in the grand scheme of things, where you have roughly about 8 minutes left in the actual market, so power hour. But keep in mind it's a Friday, so a little bit more lower volume in the grand scheme of things. But I think right now is still, despite us being up 11.5%, is still a very, very good time to add to your position. So let me know your thoughts on that. I did take advantage as well, and I bought at $5.13 pretty severely, or actually sorry, it was $5.16, my bad. But give yourself a shout out in the comments below if you as well did buy during this dip, because I don't think there's going to be too many more dips of these in the future. So again, this is my own interpretation, and hopefully you guys get a little bit more value from this. So with all that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. If you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.